Welcome back to Sports Check. My name is Daniel Wahome. Having conversations around sport, just one about talent development. And next, we shall be talking golf. The Windsor Classic, the second event on the 2023 Kenya Amateur Golf Championship calendar. The first one was the Sigona Bowl. And a lot going to be happening this weekend, the 3rd to the 5th, 3 days, and all the elite amateur, the top amateur golfers looking for the Kenya Amateur Golf Championship points. And also we shall be joining Bernard Okumu, who is out in Nairobi and is going to be speaking with Box Girls Kenya. They have been nominated for the 2023 Laureus Awards, and this is in the Sport for for the Sport for Good Award. My apologies. And they run a program around empowering girls out in Korogocho, in some of the poor neighborhoods in Nairobi, and so using boxing training and peer coaching. So Bernard Okumu is going to be talking to them, and that is going to be joining us via TVU later. But in studio with me, I have got two gentlemen. One's a professional golfer. On my immediate left, we've got professional golfer Riz Charania. Riz, pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we've got the captain of the Windsor Golf and Golf Hotel and Country Club, Simo Dubajic. I hope I got that right.
Morning, Wahome. Yes, you did.
Yeah, I mean the names from the part of the world where you come from what was known as Yugoslavia. At times we always have our own way of pronouncing them, but it's all good. Captain, let me just start with you. This having to host this second event of the Kenya Amateur Golf Championship, the Windsor Classic. It's something that, as a captain, that's one of the busiest weekends for you.
True that. Indeed. Windsor Classic has traditionally always attracted many top players, top amateurs of the country. We are expecting draw will close on 96 entries due to a little bit of new approach that has been structured in partnership with the Kenya Golf Union. This year we are looking to close the draw with 10.6, that's the maximum handicap index. We believe it's going to drop lower due to interest, and this year also first time ever there will be ladies playing in this tournament as well. We also have 30 professionals that will compete for the prize at Windsor Classic. So it is busy week, and we are looking forward to host this event.
Well, when this draw is being done for the 96, if you're talking about the elite ladies, we can already have a guess. I think they were all at Vipingo for the LTE, so those are the ones you'll be picking. Overall, when it comes to the field, is it men only, or do you include the lady golfers within the field?
This time it will be mixed. It will be mixed. Of course, everyone plays off his respective tee box. However, draw will mix pros with amateurs and ladies as well.
So Riz, this is where I'd like to bring you in because I know the pros are definitely calling you, saying, "Okay, how do we get in here?" Yeah. What's the criteria for the professionals that would be interested?
So basically, Wahome, what happened this year is, I think because of the interest in terms of combining amateur and professional golf in the country, I think it only makes sense that these kind of events are the stage to have everyone together for two reasons. One is obviously to build the development of the sport, so that we have pros interacting with amateurs, with ladies, with juniors, and so on and so forth. And two, also as a build-up to the Magical Kenya Open coming up, it's also a good way to prepare. Generally, in my opinion, there has been a gap between professional and amateur golf in the past, and I think it'll be a great this is going to be a great platform, I think, to launch something different, something new, and what better place to do it than Windsor?
Actually, now you talk about this gap. Just clarify on that, because I'm trying to think of let me see, Dennis Mara, who's or Jay Santu,
yes,
and then there's your likes and Dismas in design, and Greg's that kind of crop. Where's the gap?
So I think where the gap is, we have not been playing with the elite amateur golfers enough to be able to act as role models for them, and also to compete against them, to basically show what the pro level is like. You know, they can now basically fight it out with the pros and just have a check on where their level is. You know, are they at that level where now they can consider turning professional? You know, so it's a very, very good way to check where your level is. You know, the only way to do that is compete against the best. Yeah.
Now, the other one, and this is where it comes for you, captain. It's always known as the captain's headache. The awards, sticking within the rules of amateur golf, and the awards that come for each event. Just tell us about, you know, this prize structure that you've got.
Again, this is going to be first time ever that amateurs will compete for cash prize. Traditionally, it was always golf goodies, shoes, golf bags and the rest, but likes
the trophy.
And trophy, but likes of Jay Sando, I think they have so many of those in their cupboard, so we decided to put this year cash prize kitty is $500,000, 500,000 shillings. Cash prize for pros is 200,000. Ladies will participate in this bigger kitty. So at least when someone, and it's within the regulations on the maximum prize money, which is, I think winner this year is going to walk away with 110,000 shillings.
So that's about what? It's about $1,000 or something.
Roughly, yeah.
How has that changed, by the way, the introduction of prize money into amateur golf? Because it's expensive to be on tour doing 18, 19 events a year.
Exactly, and as I said, these events, they don't only attract best Kenyan golfers, they also attract golfers. We had 6 representatives from 6 countries last year at Windsor Classic. So at least this prize money will kind of cater for caddy's fee, entry fee, and of course some bonuses depend on the performance.
Okay. On my immediate left, we've got the resident professional golfer at Windsor, Charania. He's also been part of the leadership of the professional golfers of Kenya. And we've got Simo Dubajic. He's the captain of Windsor. And we've got the Windsor Classic this weekend. A big tournament, and there's a prize fund for the pros. He's just explained that. And now Captain, let me just come to you. And Windsor, it's a championship course. And it gives an opportunity for, you know, these golfers to be there first. We know it's been dry. Everyone in the country, it could have been parched. But just give us an outlook of what the course is at the moment and how you intend to set it up for the weekend.
I won't go that far, but course is playing very well. I think we are fortunate. We had enough water. We've been watering course almost twice a day, and greens as well. So at the moment, greens are a little bit slow, but we are working on that towards the weekend. It will be a different story, and I think Windsor is challenging on its own. So just stay on the fairway and you're good.
Riz, just basically tell us where this, when you're playing out there, where for these elite amateurs, they could be won, could be lost.
So I think with Windsor, the way the golf course is designed is it's more of a strategy golf course because it's a tight golf course built through a forest. So I think in terms of how you manage your way around the golf course is going to be key this weekend. It's not a golf course where you stand up and just bomb driver and you'll get away with it. There's no margin of error at Windsor. I was basically pretty much brought up on that golf course. And I've learnt the hard way
yes.
through all my experiences on what's the best way to play that golf course. And also, it also brings out a very different character in you as a player when you go to golf courses that are long and difficult. The way you adapt your game to be able to play different golf courses. I mean, the magical Kenya Open's coming up at Muthaiga. That's also a different style of golf course. So, you know, going from Windsor to Muthaiga, you would have to be able to adapt your strategy. Try to get, you know, the main thing is trying to understand the greens, the breaks on the greens. So I think my advice to the guys going in there this weekend is really, when you go out there and play a practice round, be defensive. It's a golf course that you need to be defensive from the tee. The greens are not as tricky or as challenging as Muthaiga. So I think that's where mainly you should be able to score.
Well, and Captain, let me look at the inclusion of the ladies. Naomi Wafula, Jackie, Walter, and Njiro from Kiambu. How much is, you know, the having these top ladies here, because they meet your threshold, the handicap cutoff? How good is it for them to play at this elite level?
I think is going to be challenging, because playing of the course 2 at Windsor for ladies is very new experience on its own. However, ladies which they sign in for this competition, they're very, very good golfers, and I am sure they will produce a good result.
Well, I'll tell you, Naomi Wafula, she made cut and won the amateur salver, and this was at the Magical Kenya Open. And Riz, for the pros, this is another opportunity, I know, to do it. But what's the scene like for the pros at the moment, and these opportunities to play at the KAGC events?
So I think this will be great, because as we know, the KAGC calendar is a little bit more populated than the pro calendar.
I think I was counting they play every 2 or 3 weeks.
Exactly. So with the pro circuit at the moment, we only have the Safari Tour, which is generally a pretty short season leading up to Kenya Open. Then after the Kenya Open, basically there are not many events for the pros to play in. So I think if we can partner and somehow come to an agreement with the KAGC series, it would be a fantastic move forwards to be able to continuously, you know, sharpen the skills, because you're playing in competitive golf week in, week out. So for me, I mean, I think this is a step in the right direction. I think the pros will also appreciate, you know, and be a little bit more motivated to continue practicing, even though the Kenya Open is over. We still have events to play in. So I think this is a good move.
And for you pros, it's very interesting. This country, we've got, most of you are actually not tour pros, you're actually club pros, which means you're coaching a lot. Just give us that perspective and how you balance, you know, between this and the tour.
So it's a difficult balance, because I mean, at the end of the day, we've got to put, you know, food on the table.
Yeah.
So I mean, for me, I stopped touring in 2018 and focused more on the coaching side of it.
You picked a time when I think you just made cut at the cave.
Yes.
Can you?
Yes.
And living when you're at the top.
Yes. So I did travel to Europe, played about 6 events back to back. Fantastic experience. And it very quickly hit me that, you know, to be able to compete at this level, even though I knew I could compete at this level, but the travel, the fitness levels, the concentration levels, you know, all of those are the things that I was lacking personally. And, you know, when I looked at myself versus a typical tour player is practicing, you know, 6 to 8 hours a day. It's a daily job, basically. They have a full team around them. You know, you've got nutritionists, you've got physiotherapists, you've got fitness coaches, you've got swing coaches, short game coaches. You know, you have a whole team around you to be able to make sure that you perform at your best. For me, I tried as hard as I could with my own resources to be able to compete at that level. And, you know, I personally tried to put together a team to help me. It did take me to a certain level where I had never played before, in terms of my fitness levels. My game itself was improving. I wish that I could have had another season out there on the tour just to take it to the next level. But, you know, unfortunately it didn't work out that way. So just going back to the Kenyan pros who are in that gray area where you're not a touring professional and you're not a club professional, and, you know, where do you stand? Ultimately, I mean, the only way to be able to decide that is once we have a substantial tour in the country where we can play up to 25 events in a year for decent amounts of money, then you can start thinking, especially as a young child or a young kid who wants to become a professional golfer in this country, they need somewhere to look up to, to see, is there an end goal? If I turn professional in this country, will I be able to sustain a living? Which is the key question. Can I sustain a living? We have many good talented juniors, which also we see they kind of fall off the map because golf in this country does not bear fruits like it would in another country, at that level. So I think we are slowly getting there. I mean, the Junior Golf Foundation now have taken a big step in partnering with the US Kids Golf, which now we are seeing them produce many golfers. But I think the roadmap going forwards from this US kids, how do we develop the kids into playing into a sustainable tour in this country?
Well, Charania is a professional golfer. And Captain, now let me just talk about this. The Windsor Classic. Just tell us, basically about the format and the mix of entries, because we are seeing Uganda amateurs coming to play in the Kenyan circuit a lot.
As I mentioned, even in the earlier previous competitions at the Classic, we had 6-7 different nationals playing at the playing competition. So it's not new, but I also think that prize money is also attractive, as I mentioned earlier, and is going to, for sure, if we continue doing this, is going to change the landscape and is going to attract amateurs not just from the region, but maybe even beyond. So for sure, I have to. None of this will be actually possible if you don't have good sponsors like Glenlivet, Tika Motors dealers, Isuzu dealers, Mivida homes, and few others, which they are really supporting these events, and I think we can only just make it bigger and better in days to come.
All right. That's Simo. He's the captain of the Windsor Golf Hotel and Country Club, the Windsor Classic this weekend. It's the second event on the calendar of the Kenya Amateur Golf Championship. And Simo, let's first, you've mentioned about, how big it is, and including all of these people. Some dramatic things we've seen at Windsor. For example, I was just looking back history, John Legirma and Mike Kisia in a playoff after they got tied. Just tell us about, what kind of competitive score you would expect from the Windsor course. Because, it's a championship course designed for that, but also there's a resort aspect of it.
Yeah, definitely Windsor is not going to treat competitors easy and smooth. It is going to definitely give them opportunity to and drain out of them the best. So I was just arguing with Riz what is going to be a score, and he's saying it may be +1 or +2. I will go for maybe -3, -4.
Riz, maybe you could respond to that.
So I'm just going with hard facts, with the scores that have been produced in the past. I think also, in order to give the players a chance to score, I think the golf course setup needs to be fair. Pin positions need to be fair. I mean, usually we go by the guideline of 6 easy, 6 medium, 6 difficult. Sometimes my captain over here goes 12 difficult and 6 harder. No, but I think it'll all come down to the setup of the golf course. If pins are accessible, because we all know the golf course is going to be dry, the greens will be hard. If the pins are accessible, then I agree with the captain, the scores will be pretty low. So it just depends on the course setup.
So without revealing too much, He says you make some difficult and then harder. Go by the rule of 12 and 6. But overall, what kind of competitive what kind of setup would you have, such that when you have your event, even the club's members feel that they're playing well at the same level as these other guys? The rest of the field that will be there for the prizes.
We do have I think more than 20 members playing this competition, our low handicappers especially. It was always traditional. It was challenge for the members to play such an event over 54 holes and off the course 1. So that's something that Windsor Classic is all about. Secondly, you are mixing with, as I said, top amateurs and the pros now this time, and the ladies. So it's going to be exciting, absolutely exciting event. In the afternoon on Friday and Saturday, we had open course for our members and guests as well, to get the feel and look and feel of the environment, which of course it will be followed with the evening ceremonies on each particular day, and final prize giving ceremony is on Sunday, I think at around 1 o'clock.
The implication is that those playing in the KAGC event will have to play in the morning.
Yes, everyone will play in the morning.
Well, let's just take a look at this. Keeping it in this calendar for keeping the Windsor Classic on the KAGC calendar, and the opportunity for your low handicappers to play. What does that mean for the club overall?
Huge. I mean, I think first of all, course plays the best at this time of the year, with all its beauties and of course from the golfing point of view, with all its challenges. Secondly, bringing a lead of Kenyan golfers, amateur golfers, and this time pros in the same event. It's something that we didn't see that before. I think is going to change the landscape of the game. As Rees mentioned, is going to push amateurs to different level and look at what pros are doing. And end of the day, points that one gets at this event, they qualify. I mean, they participate in your qualifications for Kenya Open, which is I think paramount of golf in Kenya.
Now, from the pro side, and this is a conversation because he's mentioned the Kenya Open. Rees, from the conversations about the pros and with the DP World Tour now being at the level, how are you learning, for example, to adapt from what could be at the moment it's dry. We hope that it rains at some point, so that we can have lots. It's all the last courses. Some always give you something good, but how are you learning to adapt? Because what we saw at Muthaiga last year was very fast greens.
Yes.
If you stay on the fairway in the middle, you're safe. If you go out onto the rough, you are in the rough.
Yeah. So I mean, like I mentioned before, as a top-level professional golfer, you have to be able to adapt. We don't know. It could rain next week, and the Kenya Open golf course can change completely. And I think this is where now our guys representing us need to consult with one another, consult with the members of Muthaiga Club who are the good players. Get advice, get knowledge from wherever they can. Talk to other pros. Just try and get the knowledge of what is the best way to tackle this situation, because at the end of the day, we can only feed off each other. We as pros, we have to also be able to talk to one another, understand one another, get perspectives from one another, especially our top players who have competed abroad, because playing abroad is also very, very different. The experience of playing in wind, in rain, in dry altitudes, we do have players who have played in these conditions through the past few years. So I think it's important that the pros come together when they are playing their practice rounds, try and play together, try and feed off each other, experiment and try. If I play the course in this way, or if I try this shot, or if I try that shot, how does it work? So getting your strategy in place before you actually tee it up on the Thursday of the Kenya Open is going to be key.
Actually Wednesday when you go to play the Pro-Am.
Yeah.
Now, Captain, let me speak about junior golf, because we can't avoid this. Reza actually mentioned about the US kids golf that's happening. Just tell us about the talent development, and because Reza is also involved as a club pro.
I think we with the US kids coming on board a year ago has changed a lot in on the junior side of golf in the country. 47 events was happened from 2020, beginning of 2022 or end of 2021 to actually January this year. Last one, second last was just at Mutaiga. So
you'd make Riz want to be in the kids tour because he wants to play every week.
Every week, exactly.
I think it's big contribution from pros as well, because all these young enthusiastic kids, when they come, they look up to pros, and they look up to their coaches. And definitely having those sessions on the range is completely different now when you go on the course and you compete with, first of all, with course, with yourself, and then you compete against whoever you are playing with. And all these events, they actually pulled a lot of kids into this sport, and I think it's great for the country, it's great for the sport itself. And we are seeing big changes. JGF is doing good stuff. So there are many events this year as well lined up. So we are looking forward to very soon one of our own to win the Kenya Open.
Oh yes, we want to see that. Riz, you've worked within this tour. Eventually, you get engaged.
Yes.
What's been the response with the young golfers?
No, it's been fantastic. I mean, so the US Kids partnership happened about a year and a half ago, where their coaches and actually their CEO came down to Kenya to sign the partnership. So we had a number of coaches going through the teaching certifications from the US coaches. So I think most clubs now have adopted the US Kids method of teaching. And I think because it's so structured, it's competitive, it's fun. You know, it's basically being a junior on a PGA tour. You know, you're playing week in, week out, you're playing high-level competitions. But most importantly, is the kids are playing the golf course that suits their age group and how far they hit the ball. So kids from a young age are understanding what it means to make a birdie or a par. I remember when I was a kid, 9 years old, I was playing off the men's tee. Right? That course was a monster for me. At 9 years old, hitting the ball 100 yards. Oh, plenty. So you know, from a young age, if you're making 9s and 10s on a hole, it's no longer fun. And I think this US Kids system has made it so competitive that kids now, you know, once they're putting for birdies, they make their first birdie, you know, there's that excitement. And this pushes them to now be able to shoot scores in the 70s, 80s, some of them shooting in the 60s, you know. So playing the course that's appropriate for you, right, is hugely important. And as you grow, the course gets longer for you. So I think this has been the biggest change in junior golf. And I think the culture is also changing in the country, that kids, I mean, if you look at the US Kids calendar, most of the events are oversubscribed. There's waiting lists, which has never happened before. So it's a huge positive.
All right. Finally,
and just for a record, Riz is certified US kids coach, and one of our own, Kanana, she is going to US into Carolina this July to play World Championship US Kids competition.
Well, the story of success. Kanana Mudomi, I know that he doesn't want to speak about the sport with a bigger ball. Now he wants to concentrate on this, on golf and the daughter. All the best to her, by the way, and thank you for, because we've seen her reports throughout the championship, the US Kids Championship, and she can go play out there. Thank you very much, Riz.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Simo. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
With the weekend, it is the Windsor Classic at the Windsor Golf and Country Club, and that is basically the second event of the Kenya Amateur Golf Championships. 500,000 shillings in prize money up for grabs for the professionals, the ladies, and the men will be playing. My name is Daniel Wahome. Thank you for being with us. I leave, and coming up next is Kurunzi Mashinani with Gladys Mungai, and later the interview segment, Tambrini. Have a good afternoon.